author and happiness expert Arthur Brooks, and America's Book Club host David Rubenstein viewed artifacts from the Library of Congress's archive.
All right, well, we'll start down here. And we're going in chronological order from the manuscript division. And the first item is future President James A. Garfield's diary from 1853. And this was a period where he was courting his future wife, Lucretia, but trying to determine whether their different temperaments and personalities would make him happy. And he actually says that whether she has the warmth of nature that I need to make me happy, because they came from very different families in terms of showing affection, and he was very outgoing and she was very reserved. And ultimately he decided to go ahead and marry her, but they had a very rocky courtship and a rocky marriage because of that different temperament.
They had an unhappy marriage?
For a while. It actually has a happy ending because a few crises in their relationship meant that he started to appreciate her calm nature and her ability to forgive. And basically after about 10 years and 5 kids, thereabouts, he fell madly in love with his wife. And then you're able to track their relationship through his diaries and their letters. And at one point he says, "We love not because we ought to, but because we do."
How wonderful. And they spent the rest of their lives together.
Rest of their lives together until his untimely demise. He was assassinated in 1881. But they absolutely they adored one another. But it was an interesting thing of him trying to determine what makes them happy. And she wrote a letter to her children afterwards that when you read our letters, I want you to understand the differences between myself and your father, so you understand what you're reading. And they didn't sanitize their letters before giving them to the Library of Congress.
Darn.
So it's a wonderful story.
His assassination, how he should have been prevented.
No.
It was a train station, which now where the archives is. The person who had made a speech on his behalf during the campaign thought he was owed the ambassadorship to France. He actually got a meeting with people in the White House, and they kept saying, no, you're not getting it. So eventually he shot him twice. And one bullet hurt him in the arm, it wasn't a big thing. The other one went in the stomach. A doctor comes to the train station and says, I'll take over. They take him to the White House. Hospitals weren't very good in those days. Take him to the White House, and the doctor put his finger in the hole looking for the bullet, and they couldn't find it. Finally, at some point, Alexander Graham Bell says, I invented a way to find a metal in your body. But the doctor said, no, the metal is here, not on this side. So you don't let him look here. Turned out, when they did the autopsy, it was here.
It had gone through.
What?
It had gone through.
It had gone from, the doctor had the wrong side.
Right.
Had Alexander Graham Bell been able to use his device to find it was on this side, they could have probably taken the bullet out. But not having the bullet taken out and putting the finger in without any sanitation or antiseptic thing on it, the doctor kept putting his finger in here. It ultimately led to sepsis, and he died from that.
He died from an infection, not from the bullet.
Right.
And in fact, his assassin tried to make that argument in his trial that said, I just shot him, the doctors killed him.
People say he might have been the smartest person ever to be president. He was a PhD in math.
Really?
And a child prodigy as well. Very smart guy. Okay.
So then we also...
Was he a good president?
He was only president for a couple months.
Yeah, I guess that's right.
So, and here we've got, we can stop here with Theodore Roosevelt. He's always fun to look at. And so he would write picture letters to his children because he was an adoring father and almost like a kid himself. But he would make those connections with his children with picture letters. So here it's a cat and dog that are literally fighting like cats and dogs. But then at the end of the day, they're able to make friends and live harmoniously together.
Wonderful. And what's this?
And this is a drawing by a young man in Papua New Guinea that Margaret Mead solicited children's drawings as a way, and ultimately about 35,000 of them from this trip in the late 20s, because she wanted to see how children understood their place in the world and their society, and if there were differences between genders and ages. And so that's what she was doing, some anthropological work by just seeing how the children, what their societies represented to them. So with the boys, a lot of fishing and boats and practical things, and apparently with the girls, more design and color. But
my boys would still do boats and fish.
Okay.
Hi there. This first item is meant to represent happiness through domestic pursuits. This is a poem written by an author and television personality named Poppy Cannon, and she's expressing her love for her husband, Walter White, through baking a pie with apples and spice, and Walter White being the secretary, executive secretary for the NAACP records at the time. And so that's from the NAACP records, which is our largest and most used manuscript collection. And here we have some thoughts by Rosa Parks following her 1955 arrest in Montgomery, Alabama. And she's listing what she thinks the movement needs moving forward into the period of the bus boycott. This relates to happiness through faith, where she lists faith in God, firm convictions of manhood and womanhood, and courage to stand by them, belief in the integrity of our fellow man, and Christian love for all God's children. This is a typescript by Hannah Arendt for a lecture about the pursuit of happiness, the famous phrase in the Declaration of Independence, one of the unalienable rights, and what it actually means. Does it mean individual happiness, or does it mean, as Thomas Jefferson framed it, taking direct action in government affairs?
Hannah Arendt wrote about happiness. I had no idea. Now I know.
Right. One of her more famous books was about totalitarianism. Her first
Of course. Yeah.
book. And this is a page from a draft letter to the Washington Post editor by Supreme Court Justice William O. Douglas in opposition to a plan from the National Park Service to create a parkway where the C&O Canal is. Douglas had a long history of going on long hikes in the canal, and he opposed the plan and staged full-length hikes of the canal that were covered by the press and eventually succeeded. The National Park Service canceled their plan. And in this letter, he said, he describes it as a place of retreat, one long stretch of quiet and peace at the Capitol's back door, a wilderness area where man can be alone with his thoughts, a sanctuary where you can commune with God and with nature, a place not yet marred by the roar of tires and the sound of horns. So he is finding happiness through communing with nature.
Nice. That's wonderful.
And Douglas was the youngest person ever put on the Supreme Court, and he served more years on the court than anybody. But FDR almost made him his vice president in 44. That's who he would have preferred.
He served from 39 to 75.
Instead of Truman.
Right.
Yeah. Hi, Georgette.
How are you?
That's great. We're great. How are you?
Good. So I'm a business reference librarian. So we took the curve on how to be happy at work in your career. Took some earlier authors such as Samuel Smiles,
That's a famous book.
right?
Yeah,
and the
for sure.
self-help movement of that. We also have How to Get the Most Out of Life by William Stigler. One of my favorites was Orson Swett Martin, was that's a good author of and who founded the Sussex magazine. Also went with some other authors like The Right Side Up and Norman Vincent Peale. Also did went on the curve of job hunting, career paths like that. Like how would you, the steps about being happy in your career with the, what color's your parachute?
Right. Yeah.
And
of
then
course.
ended with being happy at work, 2 books on being happy at work in your workplace and your career, steps and guides that you can take on being happy and successful and get the best out of life in your career.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right. Thank you.
Which way? This way? Around this way? Okay.
I brought some stuff on the nervous system. Golgi and Cahill, who both won Nobel Prizes in 1906 for medicine. Basically, Golgi created a staining technique for nervous tissue,
Right.
which you are now able to see the neurons, the nerve cells. And he, in my opinion, he just pulled the curtain open to our nervous system. And so these are drawings from the microscopic samples that he did. This is his opera Omnia, so his completed works. So we're like one of, I think, 5 different libraries that have this print copy. It is digitized, it is available online, but we've got the real thing. And then Cahill perfected Golgi's staining technique, and he was double dipping it in silver nitrate. And he was getting even more detailed, more intricate looks at the nervous system. So he was seeing all the synaptic bulbs and the dendrites and just how nerves work, because we kind of thought we knew how nerves worked, but it really wasn't until Golgi and Cahill that we kind of saw the evidence for it. And so, yeah, this is a Spanish version. We have an English translation too. And then I'm ending with Sir Charles Bell. He was spent his whole career in medicine. He was a physician. He was an anatomist. He was also an artist. And this is his book, Anatomy of the Brain. And he was the artist. He did the illustrations. And this was like a student textbook. And so it has descriptions of what the different parts of the brain are. And they're just, I find them really eerily beautiful. In his book, he was saying how artists, you don't just copy what you see, you have to study it and understand it in order to illustrate it. So there are wonderful illustrations in this, and I think I have one more that I'll show you. This volume is bound with his course on the nervous system.
Oh my gosh.
And this one is just stunning as well.
Yeah.
And then he outlines, your thyroid, you've got your aorta. Yeah,
It's amazing.
Okay.
wonderful stuff. Yeah.
When was this? This was
So
1802.
this is 1802,
very
yeah,
beginning of
early
the 19th century.
1800s,
Yeah.
And Sir Charles Bell, because he focused on the nervous system and motor and sensory, and so Bell's palsy. If you've heard of Bell's palsy, that's named after him. He sort of discovered that.
Okay.
Yeah. And he said the appearance of the brain is so peculiar.
All right.
That's for sure.
Yes. Sorry about that.
How wonderful.
Okay, so we have the oldest for last. So welcome to the library,
Thank
first
you.
off.
Thank you.
How's your visit going so
Yeah, well,
far?
here. Yeah,
it's going
great.
good?
It's the best. Yeah.
Okay.
He's the expert. I'm the.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So we have 1543. So we're going pretty far back at this point. So this is a book on human anatomy. It is sort of the fabric of human anatomy is the title of it. It is by a gentleman named Andre Vesalius. So there he is right here, sort of a famous name in human anatomy. Here he is right here. We have a wonderful sort of title page that gives you a lot of the context for the book here. What is most important about this book is that it is a true book of human anatomy. So up until this point, dissection was often done on animals in particular. Monkeys and dogs, which you see both in this, and this is really introducing in many ways the scientific revolution and the medical field sort of coming together to talk about how we need to shift this discipline towards more observation, and that's how we should do our learning, right? And how we do that in medical science is literally with cadavers, and so that's what we see here with Vesalius. So as we jump in, so we see again this really dramatic title page here, him dissecting a human body. His hand is on the body, right? So really demonstrating the importance of that. It's a woman, not entirely sure why that is the case, but very interesting. Scholars like to debate that point. Here is another image that really brings home this point, that we have the human skull here that is on top of a canine skull. So again, really noting the primacy, right, of this type of objective learning is what we're looking at here. So as an example of one of his dissections, we have this figure here. You'll notice that we have a body that is literally being peeled back, And they're often called drapery men. And so you can see these sort of different parts of the body, and you go through deeper and deeper and deeper into the human body. Now, why we pulled this for you in particular is this. So as we get to deeper into the body, we get into the nervous system. And what Vesalius is doing is he is really suggesting, really for the first time for sort of common knowledge, this idea that the nerves and the brain are the things that really impact emotion, right? Before this, Galen really believed that it was the heart, right, that impacted all of that. And he says we need to reformulate that. We need to be looking at the nervous system and we need to be looking at the brain. And so that's really what he outlines in all of this. Then one more here, just to get us to the brain, are these incredible images of dissection of a human brain. Again, reminding us that we're in the 1540s, so this is kind of wild, right? So we go through and you can see, again, that peeling back of the idea. And then we have the literal cross-cut section here, which there's no real other way to put it. This is very fresh brain that he is working with here. So he is working with very active sort of human cadavers.
And so they added the mustache here just for effect.
Just for the full beard.
Yeah, it's a nice effect.
All right, and the last touch for this one is that this is sort of a Cliff Notes version of the larger Vesalius. What's interesting about this is that there's not necessarily anything new in this, but it's meant to be interactive. So you are meant to cut out these pieces and paste them onto this, so you have a medical sort of a flap figure. So the idea is that you may not have access to a cadaver, but you can still investigate, right? Like you can still be part of observation
So this
in
was a
this
textbook.
process.
This was a textbook
It's
for
a
medical
textbook,
students.
absolutely. And it's something that they still refer to today
that right?
in medical school, which is wild because it's kind of this fundamental shift, right, and turn for how people understand the human body. So, and still medical flat books, we still use them today in many different forms. So, this is kind of the start of some of that as well, which is really neat.
Oh, impressive.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Good.
It's amazing. What
Wonderful.
a wonderful collection.
Yeah, it's
I love
great.
this. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for doing that.
So
Yeah.
Of course.